Hey Algebra 2C people, this is just going to be a really short, quick video. Somebody alerted me to a couple of problems actually on the assignment for 7.3. They're like, that's not really in the video, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, it's not. So I'm going to do two short examples. They're both up on the board here behind me. Because the first video that you probably watched today had like examples 1 through 4, the next video had 5 through 7, and the final video had 8 and 9. So this one's going to have 10 and 11. Now, this example right here, is specifically to help you with page 1, problems 4 and 6. This example over here is specifically for page 2, question 4. So those will help you. Now, these are a little different looking because it's still a fraction times a fraction in this example, but there's no factoring. Look at the two examples together. There's not a plus sign or a minus sign to be seen, which means, if there's not addition or subtraction, we don't have a binomial or a trinomial, and then there's no factoring. So these are a little bit more like properties of exponents, if you will. So I treat these a certain way every time, and here we go. Number 1. If I have two fractions multiplied in this situation, not like the other videos where there's factoring to be done. No factoring, straight up multiply, divide type situation. So number 1 priority is I am going to multiply. Top to top, bottom to bottom, write that here and then simplify. That means two things. 1, basic numbers, like the 8 and the 7, multiply them. And secondly, things like x to the third, x to the fourth, y to the first, y to the third. When you multiply with x's and y's, you add their exponents. So this top becomes 8 times 7, those aren't exponents, that's 56. X to the, this is x to the third times x to the fourth, that's x to the 7th. I mean, think about that. It's not x to the 12th. X to the third means x times x times x. And then x to the fourth means x times x times x times x. All that multiplied together makes 7 x's multiplied together, not 12. That's why you add exponents. This y right here, I'm going to tack this in. That's understood as y to the first. So y to the first times y to the third, add those exponents, it's y to the fourth. Bottom, same scenario. 2 times 4, those aren't exponents, just 2 times 4 is 8. This is x to the first time, no x over here, so it just stays x to the first. And then y to the second times y to the first. That's y to the third. And now here's my new problem here. And I'll do one final thing to get my answer. Divide top to bottom wherever I can. That could mean divide if it divides whole number easily. It could mean reduce as a fraction. Please note when you divide with x's and divide with y's, you subtract their exponents. See, when you multiply, you add the exponents. When you divide, you subtract. So, just so happens, top to bottom, by the way, when you work top to bottom, the answers belong in the top for that moment. And I'll talk about that in a second. So, 56 divided by 8 happens to be exactly 7. X to the 7th divided by x to the first. You subtract those exponents. 7 minus 1 is 6, x to the 6th. And the y's are y to the 4th divided by y to the 3rd. You subtract those exponents. 4 minus 3 is 1, so it's technically y to the 1st. And that's it. It doesn't end up as a fraction answer. It ends up as technically a numerator. And there's that. That specifically, again, will help you on page 1, questions 4 and 6. They're just like this, just different letters. Okay, this has got one added detail. And you know this detail from the previous videos. This is a division question. we don't do fraction division, we do multiply reciprocal. So as soon as I fix that, it's going to be that example style, okay? So we leave the first thing alone, which is 3x to the 5th y squared divided by 8x y to the 4th times. Make it times. Flip that. 6x y to the 3rd, 9x cubed y. Now, I'm going to put that answer right up here when I'm ready. Just like last, now this takes the place of last example. Now it's a similar situation. You're going to multiply top to top, bottom to bottom, one fraction, simplify, answer, done. First of all, regular numbers in the top are 3 and 6. Multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. X to the 5th times x to the 1st. Add those exponents. 5 and 1 are 6. X to the 6th. Y's are y squared times y to the 3rd. Add those exponents. 2 and 3 make 5. Y to the 5th. Denominator is 8 times 9. That's 72. X to the 1st times x to the 3rd. That's x to the 4th. And y to the 4th times y to the 1st. That's y to the 5th. Now, this time, there is no way that this is going to divide nicely because the numerator's got 18, the denominator's got 72. 18 divided by 72 is going to be a decimal. However, 18 over 72 reduces to 1/4, meaning 18 goes in once, 18 goes in 4 times for a 1/4. Secondly, the x's and the y's, you will divide them, which means you'll subtract the exponents. The x's are 6 minus 4, which is x to the 2nd. And it just so happens that the y to the 5ths reduce out. Technically, y to the 5th divided by y to the 5th is 1. They reduce out because it's already 1 times 1. It's just going to stay 1. Now, I'm fine with you writing the answer as 1x squared over 4. Chances are very good the textbook or I would be seeing an answer in class as just x squared over 4. Doesn't matter if you leave the 1 there or not, it's the same answer no matter what. So there's a quick little help for those problems that, again, I left off. That was my fault. But this is a very short, quick video. It looks like it's running about 8 minutes long, so that won't take you a ton of time to look at and do those problems. All right? Take care, you guys.